You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Steven?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Welcome to Out of the Blank podcast.
The blink, huh?
What do you think of that name, Out of the Blank?
kind of, kind of like kind of seems like the precursor name to Time Bite.
The precursor name to Time Bite? What was the precursor name to Time Bite?
Nothing.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. So, let's get your name out there. Stephen Clark. Okay, so you're from Illinois.
Yeah, I'm from Illinois.
So, what do you do professionally? What kind of gets you money throughout the day?
I just just work a regular job. I don't do. Are we recording, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just do a regular job. I don't do anything.
Well, what's a regular job? Do you fucking make bread? What? I have no clue.
No. I just I beg. I'm basically a person who begs people groceries and bring them the cars from the outside. That's all I really do.
Right on. I mean, don't belittle your job, dude. I mean, I work at a hotel, so I mean, there's good parts about it, bad parts about it, but it's obviously not what I want to do for the rest of my life. But never belittle yourself a little bit. But just getting to kind of look at your profile a little bit and kind of understand who you are. I mean, my podcast is just a conversation between me and you, so we could talk about whatever. I see you have a giant fascination with anime and video games, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, anime is a thing I've been on the lackluster for a little while, and I recently have started to explode in a little bit more because I've been going to more anime conventions, based around the anime.
Have you seen the stigma kind of behind going to these conventions? Because I'm from Maryland, and we have some that come to our convention center here, and I see it so awesome that people can, like, I have friends, hell, I've podcasted with people that have go to these conventions, and they see it as a way of not hiding their true selves, being able to dress up and be truly free around and comfortable around other people that are in the same like mind thing. They all want to do the same type thing. And when it comes to dressing up like doing anime, or even if you Naruto run down the hallway, like, people look at that and they're like, what's wrong with this fucking guy? I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't say that. I mean, that's a person expressing themselves in something they really, really appreciate, which is something like video games or anime.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great way of people expressing themselves, like you said. It's just another way for people to show somebody who they are. I mean, like they may not be like doing, they may not be impersonate, they may not be like talking about, like, not talking, but like doing stuff that they would be usually doing, because like they would be being gimmick, as I put it. But if they but like if they show up to con and they love doing what they're doing, that's all that really matters. I mean, the way I put it is that cosplay isn't supposed to be a contest. It's supposed to be a thing that, people, yeah, like some people like to one up the other guy under cosplay, but that's not how it's supposed to be. So it's just, there's contests for it, yes, but in all, it should be a collective thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way, first of all, if you look at a lot of what I usually kind of hit on is that with the thing with society is we're all walking around with a mask, and I think people that want to truly express themselves and be free should do that. We should be comfortable being able to do that in the world. Like, when's the only time you really ever feel comfortable in your life? is truly when you're in your room. That's your only time with the door shut, nobody around, that you can walk around naked and not give a shit and truly be comfortable. But it feels like when we walk around the world today, everybody's so like on their toes, like afraid to express who they really are. And I've seen people that have gone to anime conventions. I've talked to people that have experienced it and everything, and they say there's so many things to do that you have a plan of what you're going to do when you go, and you never truly accomplish it. Like you just do. There's so many other things that pop up in the way, whether it's buying all the gifts at all constant stations that everything's selling, from t-shirts to different cartoon type styles to meeting different people to just walking around and seeing everybody's badass costumes. First of all, being able to take the time to understand what it's like to hear my buddy go off and on this giant tangent about how he dressed up from a character from Naruto, spending 6 hours on makeup, painting himself, and doing all these types of things and creating these prop type weapons that he's been dealing with for months. You'd say that to anybody in the street, or say that to some person that would, I guess, consider them. I mean, I'm an adult, but not 100%. I guess you know
Right.
legally I'm an adult, but I have the mind of a kid. Like, I enjoy watching cartoons. I don't watch the news, but if you say, "Hey, I just spent the past 2 months building this Kingdom Hearts uh key weapon that's freaking awesome and authentic as hell," someone's gonna, some parents gonna be like, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you get a job?" It's like, no, because I don't want to be broken down like you.
Well, I mean, sorry to cut you off. To go back to your point about like people, about not people, some people being their goal at conventions. Um, I I actually met a goal. Like, it wasn't really a goal for me, but like I met like a thing that I did, that I guess started before I went to convention this year, where like I literally met like every single person that I said that I would meet up with at the convention this year. Like, I met with all of them, and it wasn't like somewhere I'm gonna like, this is gonna happen today. It just happened.
Yeah. Well, random things pop up, dude, and sometimes those random things, they improve your day, man. And I kind of want to hear a little bit about your experience, like kind of what's your influence, or yeah, what's your influence when it comes to anime and types of cartoons? Is this just something you just had a fascination with as a kid?
Yeah, I was born in the '90s, so
Yeah, the good
that
years.
could probably give you something right there.
The
But
yeah, the good years where cartoons weren't shit, I would say, because it seems like they're bringing back all the old cartoons, but they're not the same.
yeah, but yeah, when I was younger, um, I always had a fascination with cartoons from the West, which is us, the states, and anime was something that I was in with, because I liked some anime like Digimon and Sailor Moon growing up.
Oh,
Uh,
dude, hey, right there, Digimon. Oh my God, don't even get me started on Agumon, bro. Agumon, like that's the freaking whoo. God, I don't know how many car trips I went on having that DVD loaded up in the car, just ready to go.
yeah, I used to, I used to watch, like Digimon, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, somewhat Dragon Ball Z, all that. I used to watch all that, and then like when Toonami got big in the early 2000s, I used to watch that, and then when I got older, I took a stand from anime for a long time, and like recently, it's just the last year, I recently got back into it by watching a little anime called Yuri on Ice. You probably never heard of it, but I watched that for the story, which I like it for the story. Let me just make that clear. And then after that, I just started slicing my way and dipping my toes a little bit more into a little bit more anime, so I could just get it, you know.
Yeah, do you ever draw your own cartoons or make your own comics?
I'm not an artist of that far. I'm not an artist in the way of podcast. I mean, I can. If you told me right now to draw you in a cartoon form, it isn't going to happen because I ain't that good.
Oh yeah, dude, I still don't know how to draw feet or hands. I don't understand. Mine just look like broken bananas. But when it comes to anime and stuff, like I have a big influence with Dragon Ball Z, dude. I own a Dragon Ball Z T-shirt, and what's weird is when you walk around, like especially where I'm from, a lot of people are wearing superhero shirts, and superheroes are kind of getting big. All these types of things that never used to be like taken so, I guess, seriously. A lot of times it was like, oh, that's just Superman. Like, yeah, we all know the old school Adam West and all those types of things, like dealing with those types of superheroes, those old movies that our parents were interested in. But if you look closer, like everything's making a flashback. Everything's kind of coming back into the world. There's new stuff's getting, rewashed and thrown out there in better ways. Movies are getting a little bit like cooler when it comes to that. But it seems like what they've never really done it right with is cartoons. Like, for example, one of my favorite cartoons as a kid was Teen Titans. It's trash now. I can't watch it. Only because they dumbed it down to a point where it lost the essence of what it was. To me, it was this Japanese style art form that was coming from somewhere I had no idea where, but I would tune in every hour it was supposed to be played. If it was 11 a.m., I was there. If I had to fake being home from school or something, I was there. It was a relaxation thing. And I first started off watching, Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Those shows taught life lessons. But you know what the weird thing is? The world's become so sensitive that Johnny Bravo cannot be played today.
Well, I mean,
you cannot have a muscle guy hitting on chicks and saying all these derogatory things to women. But the funny thing is that he never gets any of them. That's the thing. It's supposed to highlight the aspect of being a guy like that. You're not going to get the girls. The nerd dude that was Johnny's best friend constantly got the chicks. If anything, the really hot women, because it was to highlight the aspect of don't be this muscle-bound douchebag. Be someone that's caring and you will get the girl. And I think somewhere along the way it just got turned into this giant thing like, wow, he's so mean to women. This is against feminist rights. I'm like, but you're missing the point. Like, cartoons like that shaped the child's imagination and first of all, brought humor to their life. Brought that, I mean, I don't know how many times they sat down in front of the TV with a bowl of Fruity Pebbles freaking ready to go. And, I think along the way we lost the true meaning of what, joy is, whether it's in art form when it comes to understanding cartoons or movies, or whether it's music and these types of things. I think it just got, somewhere along the way, it just got lost.
I mean, like the way I look at it is that the world, it's just, it changes, I mean, the world's not like how it was back in like the 1970s. And the world was never like the 1970s and the 80s, and it wasn't like the 80s and the 90s. So, I mean, we're just evolving, and it may, some aspects of life may be better than worse, but and some aspects of life is going to be worse than better. But there's some people who just take it a little too far, and I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah, but I definitely think, like you're saying, I agree with you. There's beautiful things in this world. It just seems like every day gets a little bit harder for people to kind of see that. I guess get that version highlighted out there, because it seems like every day, and it gets worse and worse with how the world is. People just don't seem happy anymore. And I think, like with cartoons being thrown back, okay, that's I see benefit in that, and I also see where I don't enjoy it, only because they changed it a little way, but I realize they're not adapting to me as the audience anymore. They're trying to bring this old wonderful show that I had enjoyment with and bring it to a newer generation of kids, making it relate to them. My little cousin watches it and he's mind boggled to it. Like, hey, did you see that new Teen Titans episode? Did you see the new, it names off some Yo Gabba Gabba or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm not watching that. And he's like, but why? I used to love it. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same for me anymore. My time for this is back in the 90s when I got to enjoy it, you know? Your time
Mhm.
is with this now. You get to experience what I had to experience. Yes, they relate a lot of the stuff where I can still bond with my cousin about it over the show. Like, hey, did you know? Yeah, dude, I'm aware of that. I saw that episode before you were born, buddy. They just changed it up for you. But it's cool because it lets them in on, then they go and they decide, wow, I want to know what the original's like. And then they go look up the original and they're like, whoa. And either they like it or they don't. But it's like, wow, it's like, I see why you found it interesting. It's a lot more like adult, like it's more, it seems a little bit more grown up than the cartoon version I really have. And I'm like, yeah, man, well, it's adapted for you now because it's wonderful that they're doing that because that brings a younger generation into the crowd that people consider nerds. I'm like, are they nerds or are they just people trying to enjoy what they enjoy? Like, why do we label things like of that sort? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, like it's a crazy thing. I mean, people like to put labels on things and and call things different things, like just to be goofy with it. But in reality, I mean, like we all know what it really is. I mean, like some things are not going to be the same anymore. Obviously, I mean, like we're not going to have, you know, we're not going to have like soccer boppers around anymore without some parent going or some person going like that's child harassment.
Yeah, whatever happened to moon shoes? Holy shit, that just brought me back.
No, I mean I think I saw a commercial for like soccer boppers on like TV just like a week ago.
Yeah, they don't. But the weird thing is, it's like now, like people are like, all right, because for so long they stopped doing the soccer boppers things. For people that don't know that are listening, there's these giant inflatable things you put on your hands. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, they're
Y-
inflatable and they go on your
Yeah,
hands.
you're
Yeah.
able to like hit other kids or whatever, and then it turned into this giant bullying thing because whatever someone took it somewhere and said, I don't want my kid having this violent type thing. I'm like, well, people are violent. Sadly, that's just how the world works. I think it's better for a child to express himself that way and have fun with his friends that way than them going off and doing something maybe a little bit more serious or more dangerous. And a lot of stuff gets looked at, kind of gets torn down or seen as stigmatized as it does this, does that. And then it ends up coming back a little bit because people start to realize how ridiculous it was to really outlaw it in the first place. And a lot like, I don't know if you heard about those that West Baptist church that went out there and did that freaking riot or did that what was it? It was some type of protest against Comic
I
Con.
haven't I haven't heard about it, but I know that everyone that goes that who goes to that place or whoever runs that place or that building sitting there in general sucks.
Why do you say that?
You know they're because they're all about the devil and the devil sucks. So I just
Well, the West Baptist Church, they were all about saying that Comic Cons for fags and all these types of things, and they're not against or they're against gay people and saying that everyone that goes to Comic Con's gay, and they try to do a protest where they ended up trying to fight some of the people there, and all the Comic Con people are like, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I've never been to a Comic Con just because they're not really close to by to where I'm at. My buddy goes and travels. I have a couple friends that go and travel to these things, dress up, and they have fun. And it, it, it it's something I want to experience. I mean, I want to dress up as one of the dudes from Skyrim and just walk in there. I mean, I have a fascination with video games. I like playing them. I enjoy it. It's a fun hobby. Also, it seems like more nowadays people are being more accepting and open, and video games are becoming really, really popular because I think at first it was seen as a child thing, like, oh, you play video games, you're still a child. No, dude, I'm jealous of the guy who's 40 years old, walks into the store with a Mountain Dew t-shirt on, gets a 24 pack of soda and a bunch of Doritos in his cart. Yeah, that's not the healthiest option, but still, I know that guy's got a freaking awesome ass night ahead of him playing Xbox and stuff and enjoying his time and not having to worry about any other care of the world. Video games, cartoons, all these types of things that people say is childish, it's not being a child. It's called escaping from the reality and the normal things that everyone has to live by. And I think that with now, at least nowadays, it's seen as people are more accepting into video games only because it's not seen as a child thing anymore. It's something anybody can enjoy. I mean, I've played video games with my parents before. You know, it all depends on. I guess there's once the generation gap. Obviously, the grandparents aren't going to want to play video games because depending on how they understand technology in general. But it's it's open to everyone. It's not closed off to a certain group, not closed off to anything. And I think very few things in the world are like that.
Are you saying? Are you telling me that you don't have time to be a nerd because of your job?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry to turn the tide on you, but
No. Like I said, dude, it's a conversation. No, I'm not saying I don't have time to be a nerd. I nerd out in my own way. I just don't have time to go travel, I guess, to a whole nother state and go and experience a Comic Con for myself. Mostly because I try my best. Like I work two jobs and then do school and stuff too, and then try and do podcasting and stuff. I don't really have a whole lot of time, but
yeah.
I try and at least make an hour at night or something if I don't have anything lined up and just watch cartoons, dude, or watch a movie or just enjoy a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of, I guess, escape from the real world in a way. But dude, no, I guarantee you, dude. If I had a good like weekend, I would love to go to a Comic Con for sure. I definitely need to plan that out once summer's over with and it's around winter time when there's a little bit of breaks between stuff. But it's me and my buddy keep trying to set up dates for it, but he ends up going off by himself or doing something where it's I see his Snapchats of him sending me all these awesome like pictures of people he's met, cool people. I mean, he met freaking Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. I'm like, damn it, like I would love to meet Luke Skywalker. And then he also met Captain Kirk, and I'm not a fan of Star Trek, so but it's like the cool people you get to meet. You get to meet people you watch on TV that are just people just like you, that are just they're normal. Everyone in this world has a story to tell, has an experience, and I don't think we should belittle anybody for enjoying a type of Comic Con or something like that. Because, dude, those people that I used to look back on in high school that I used to thought were weird running down the hallway doing a Naruto run or the ninja run or something like that. I, Once I graduated, I was like, holy crap, they had it figured out. And then my buddy's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they didn't give a fuck. They were the original I don't give a shit people. They were like, they enjoyed what they enjoyed. They didn't care what others said about them. They found their group of friends that did the same things they did and enjoyed the same things they did. And I recommend, I've talked to those people now, and I've tried to get these kids on my podcast. And like, are you just going to be like everybody else and make fun of me? I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to do that, dude. I'm not like everybody else. Some people today still are like, what, you do that? Why don't you go to the bar, bro? It's like, cause I rather enjoy moments with my friends watching cartoons, laughing our ass off, whether you're a stoner or whether you're not. You don't need drugs to experience a cartoon. You know what you do need to experience? You need alcohol to experience, I guess, life anymore, which sucks because a lot of people think this way and it's not true.
That's why I'm straight edge because I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't drink. I have a lot of great friends and I have a great family, so I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm straight edge too, dude. I'm not anywhere, I don't smoke, drink, but I have done it before, and I can tell you it's not my dance. It's not my ride. And I feel like what I get out more out of life is I can get high off of just talking to people and hearing their stories, man. Like you're right now telling me the story of Stephen Clark. Okay, I want to know. I want to know what it's like growing up in Illinois. I want to know what your life is like. I want to know what your passions are. I want to know what you want to do down the road. And
Well,
this
well,
is
if, no, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you want me to do, I could start from the beginning and work my way up to today. If you want
let's
me to.
just like the Bible. Tell me how the world was created. Let's go. Tell me about Stephen Clark.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. So basically, my name. Yeah, my name is like Stephen Clark. Obviously, I'm 26, and no, I'm 25. I'm gonna be 26 in 2 months because my birthday's coming up. But I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna throw out where I'm from. But like I'm from the general town of West Chicago, and I was born in the town of Mount Prospect. And ever since I was born, I lived in. Was it Rolling Meadows? It was either Rolling Meadows or Arlington Heights. I think it was Arlington Heights. I lived there when I was born, and I moved to Mount Prospect, and I lived in Mount Prospect from whenever to 2005 and that's when I moved to Schaumburg, where I lived there from 2005 all the way up to last year, when I moved to the house I live in now. And growing up, I mean, like I got into many different things. Like obviously when I was growing up, I was, I watched all the regular cartoons everyone watched, and I got into some anime, like, Beyblade, Metabots, Digimon.
Dude, I just bought a shit ton of Beyblades for $1 at a thrift store. I got like 50 Beyblades for $1. And if you go to the store now, all that stuff's getting thrown right back in the store. All the old stuff that people sold at yard sales for like 50 cents. Dude, I go thrift shopping looking for those toys. Those Neopets I used to get in the McDonald's Happy Meal, man, that are worth freaking hundreds of dollars online. People are like, why don't you sell them? I'm like, hell no, this is my childhood, man. This is my nostalgia.
And then obviously when I grew up, like when I got into middle school, I got interested in Guitar Hero, and that became big for me because the first ever game I ever played was Guitar Hero 3, and when everyone says that they're favorites, and I got on the Wii, and ever since then it was just like I became a fan. So after I got the third one, I got into the next one after that was Aerosmith, and I got that one. And then after Aerosmith, I just got the rest of them.
Hold on, do you play Guitar Hero because can you not play guitar normally, or do you just find it funner to play Guitar Hero?
Surprisingly enough, I don't know how to play the real thing. I just play Guitar Hero because I mean not there's to say that at any point I can try to pick up one.
It's just easier for you?
What's that?
It's just easier for you to play Guitar Hero than try and learn the normal guitar?
Yeah,
I relate to that 100%, Steven, because my whole family is musically talented. I have a little bit of talent when it comes to it, but it's not something I want to expand really any farther, only because I'm not as interested as everybody in my family is with music. Everybody in my family's in a band, everybody's in 2 or 3 bands, everybody's musically influenced, pretty popular around here. And my dad met Kiss and played in a commercial for Kiss and all these types of things. And it's all these different things that they're all interested in. But when I play Guitar Hero, I enjoy it. I love playing Rock Band. I just played Rock Band 3 the other night, only because we all have a fascination with wanting something. And when it comes to wanting something, whether it's a crowd cheering your name, or just seeing a bunch of people cheer at music you can play, or even just simple things like this. Guitar Hero was easy for me. I could play on easy, and I could get up to 1 million fans and watch my band just go out there, and it's basically experiencing what would happen if I chose to pursue it in real life even farther. What could happen? It's for people that don't want to take the shot of being a musician but enjoy playing an instrument, just might not have the capability to. I can't play guitar for crap, okay? But
Yeah.
I can play Guitar Hero on easy and I can look like a god, you know? But I watch my brother, who is a skillful musician when it comes to acoustic guitar, electric guitar, anything. And his band's pretty popular, and watching him play Guitar Hero on expert, freaking like it's nothing, just bending it and annihilating it. And I'm sitting there like, oh my god, I can't move my freaking thumb or my finger all the way down to the orange note to play on medium. And I'm like, I'm just gonna chill on easy. And I, it just fascinates me because video games, whether you want to be a soldier and play as a soldier, or whether you just want to experience these types of things, they give you so many outlets and so many, I guess, different genres of games you can play, whether you're building, whether you're farming. I hate Farming Simulator. If you enjoy that, I don't know how you do it. But if it gives you a little bit of dive into what that culture or what that lifestyle is like. It's like the same thing. I want to be a superhero. Okay, well, you want to be a superhero? Why don't you play as a superhero in a video game and experience what it's like to be a superhero? And then if it fulfills that need, it fulfills that want of something that is not really. I mean, you can be an average day superhero like a firefighter, but you're not going to be Superman,
Yeah. For another one for me, another thing for me is that after Guitar Hero, not that I ever passed it. I mean, like, I'm still a fan of Guitar Hero to this day, and I still want them to make a new game to this day. But another thing that really helped me express myself, well, because Guitar Hero helped me musically, and then something that really helped me express myself a little bit more was this thing called Homestuck. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No, I have not.
It's a thing they call a webcomic, which is basically like there's a picture, but it's kind of like a PowerPoint, but not a PowerPoint, where there's a picture and then text below the picture, and you just look at the picture and you read the text. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like subtitles a little bit.
Yeah, and basically this webcomic is really, really popular. Like, it's real popular, and you'll see cosplays of it at every convention almost every time, and I love it. And I haven't read the whole thing yet. I'm trying to finish it. I gotta finish it soon. But that fandom really helps me. And the thing with fandom is that there's like the really crazy ones, the ones who think that it's more popular than it should be. And I go like, well, man, not that popular. You're like, hold your horns, kids. You're not that popular. And I'm just a normal fan. I don't think the webcomic is like higher than it should be, because there's some people that think that's higher than it should be. But I just see it as something that's really cool, really expressive, and there's someone for everyone in it. Like, there's someone, I'm sure if you read it, one of the characters would connect with you. That's how connective it is. It's like there's a character for everyone in that thing, and some people mix it up too. Like someone likes one character and another character, and sometimes they'll put together, or they'll just choose who's better for their personality.
Yeah, dude, there's always rivals between DC and Marvel Comics, like those constant things. That's just for the listeners out there to kind of relate to some stuff. Like, everybody knows that whole controversy between who's better, Superman or Batman. Hell, there was a movie played out on it. But the fact that, like,
it really sucks.
Yeah, well, yeah. You can't be Christian Bale as Batman. I'm sorry, that's Batman in my mind, is Christian Bale, not Ben Affleck. But when it comes to I guess finding an outlet, whether it's a web comic, whether it's a real comic, it all depends on the generation gap. Now, I've talked to a bodybuilder who got into the fascination of sculpting his body to be an average day superhero, to be someone like Superman. And his fascination was just from drawing comics. And he was like, wow, I want a body like this. I want to be looked up to like this, and that's what got him into bodybuilding. I see him at the gym now. He's an older guy, doesn't have the body like he used to, but he constantly wears Marvel sweat jackets, Marvel t-shirts, comic t-shirts, whatever. He still buys comics today because he remembers going to the store and with his grocery, or not whatever his mom gave him for grocery money, and instead of buying groceries, he bought comic books. And the whole thing is, it doesn't matter what your age is, what's your mentality, whatever you want to think is adult or not adult. There's forms of it everywhere. It's just like a movie. There's a cartoon style, and then there's the movie. There's the serious drama horror flicks, and then there's the horror comics. Like, it depends on what you want to find out and what you want to consider, or what your interest is, man. And the fact that I don't have to go to the store and spend $8 on a comic book. I can just go and download a free Marvel comic app on my phone and see every single Marvel comic ever produced, because there's so much of it out there, whether it's Marvel, DC, whatever you're interested in. There's different things everywhere for it. I mean, there used to be comic book stores. Stores, at least in my area, there's not any more of that anymore. It used to be all over the place when I was a kid. Yeah, well, that's out there. Like, it used to be all over down here. All over the East Coast used to be giant comic book stores. The only ones I ever think of really popular anymore are like Jay and Bob's or the comic store they own, and these types of things. And I remember they used to sell them in dollar stores too. Like, you just go to the random grocery store and there was comic books there. Now it's like you'll see one every now and again, and it's like, wow, this used to be really popular. I remember getting the old Japanese anime magazines and not being able to read anything from it, but still being like, look at the art on this, the characteristics. That's actually the reason why I even still collect Pokemon cards to this day, just because, I this is my inner nerd here, but the whole factor is that's a nostalgia to me. I look at that and I'm like, damn, I remember when I was a kid and I would get those Japanese cards that were like the fake knockoffs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're all holographic and they had like crazy attack power and stuff. And I was like, damn, I remember the bonding I had with these and my friends. I mean, it's something that creates an everlasting effect. It's like it imprints on you as a person, and it's in the best way possible. You're like, damn, those were some good moments in my life. Like, holy shit. Like, I remember laying out all my Pokemon cards and looking at them all and seeing all the artwork, seeing, Hiroshi Nagatawaka freaking created this card and this art. He drew this. Like, that's awesome. And they're all different inspired creations and stuff. And I think it's cool that culture keeps it going nowadays, especially like bringing Bakugan back, bringing these little things, these little toys I used to play with as a kid that I still collect to this day. Like, I have a fascination of it when I go into thrift stores, and it's when I see them, I'm like, how much? They're like $1. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know how much these are worth? A deal. And like, it's the whole thing. You don't truly know what you have until it's gone. And I'm glad they're bringing it back and trying to keep it into modern times. At least, even if they adopt it into a way I might not like, I still like that the whole idea that they're bringing it to my younger family and younger generations to understand.
I feel like I feel like through the time that we've been talking this whole time, when you've been talking about you being nerdy, I feel like I'm getting this vibe, like, I feel like you want to go out into the world and be just like this nerd. Like, you want to be the nerd, like, you want to cosplay, you want to be nerdy in the public. It's just like, but it sounds like there's something like holding you back. I mean, like, what? I mean, like,
no, dude. I just wore. Dude, I express myself. I have no bars. Basically, I go out and do. I mean, I'll walk out and freaking. I'll paint my chest with the Spider-Man symbol on it. And actually, I'm not a fan of Spider-Man, but even I like Tobey Maguire. He's awesome, but Tom Holland, I don't like him. But the whole thing is, I'll watch a Marvel movie. I don't care what people think. I stopped caring a long time ago. I enjoy doing it. It seems like what happens with a lot of people is we get comfortable in our certain routines and lifestyles that we never go out and truly express ourselves anymore. And I definitely get I'm a victim of it too. Whether you admit to being a victim of it yourself, Steven, you are a victim of it. Sometimes you get stuck in a routine, and that just deals with different aspects of things. For me, I get comfortable to the point where like, oh, you can go to Philadelphia today and go see this Comic Con. I'm like, ah, but fucking my bed sounds so nice right now. Like, it seems like sometimes it seems like it's more of a struggle to go out into the world and try and just have fun. But once you're out there doing it, you're glad you did it. You know what I mean? I live
Yeah.
next to the beach. I'm from a surf town. I'm from a musician town. I'm from a bar town. All these types of popular things during the summer, it's booming, and during the winter, it's dead. There's nothing to do. And it seems like, oh, yeah, I want to go out and get a little bit of sun, but it's so freaking hot out. And we always just constantly make excuses. Everybody does, man. And if you don't admit to that, then, that's just you making an excuse. But it,
Sorry to cut you off. I mean, when it is really freaking hot out, do you really want to go to the beach when it's really, really hot out?
dude,
When you're
hell no. I had to force myself the other day to get some sun. I was wearing a tank top. I came back. My back is still sunburnt, dude. I regret it putting on my shirt. Like, I'm like, ow. It feels like I'm wearing fire ants. But I had fun. I walked on the boardwalk, by myself, listening to music, talking to people, talking about like, handing out podcast business cards. Like, hey, if I just want to get everybody's thoughts and takes on life. Whether I want to hear your story, I want to hear everything. And I got to argue with a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses. That was fun. And it's the whole idea. Like, I just want to understand what, like, I guess what gets people through the days in the morning. Like, what gets them through this thing they call life. Why do we have to say I made it through life? Why can't we say I had a life? Like, I lived a life. Like, it was fucking awesome. And
I got a secret for you then.
okay, what's up?
Pop-Tarts.
Dude. Yeah. All right, dude. All right, so this is actually pretty cool. So, have you ever heated up a Pop-Tart?
Who hasn't heated up a Pop-Tart at least once in their life?
What age did you heat up a Pop-Tart?
I don't do it anymore, but probably the last time I actually did it was probably when I was like 10.
I didn't experience this until like a month ago.
What's that?
I said I didn't experience that you can heat up a Pop-Tart until a month ago.
You didn't know you can put them in a toaster this whole time?
I mean, I knew people did it, but I thought I didn't think it would taste good, and then I tried it, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, this is awesome!"
And at that moment, that's what he thought.
Yeah, it was one of those types of things, and it's funny. What is your favorite childhood snack? Like something you would, dude. We've all done it. Something you on a like when you were a kid, you were just shirt off, whatever. Whether you're in your diapers, your boxers, whatever, and you sat down in front of the TV to watch your favorite cartoon. What was that thing you had in front of you? We all had something. Mine was, I would do this thing: 2 slices of bread, cheese on each piece, pepperoni on top of the little cheese pieces. Stick it in the microwave, and then fold it into a sandwich. A melted pepperoni and cheese sandwich. Let me tell you something. Shirt off, melted pepperoni and cheese sandwich in front of the TV watching Dragon Ball Z was my childhood. That was my life. Oh my God. I can't I would love, I might do that today, to be honest with you. And, it's, what's yours? What did you do?
Let's see if I can remember. I ate a lot of food growing up. I had everything that I literally have today. There's some stuff that aren't around anymore, like remember when back in the 90s, early 2000s, when they had those 3D Doritos and the Cheetos and that.
Yeah, they brought them back, dude.
Thing you put them in the cup, which was the lid.
They brought them back.
What, those things from the early 2000s?
Yeah, my local Walmart has those right now.
I haven't seen those since like the 2000s or 90s.
Dude,
so
like I said, everything's coming back, man. But what else did you have? You had these Doritos?
Yeah, I mean, I had those every once in a while. I have the Cheetos like that once in a while. Pringles, regular chips. I honestly don't remember like the one thing I constantly had. Honestly, that's like the one thing I feel remembering because I ate so much growing up. Like I remember having Cape Cuisine a lot.
Dude, yes, with the penguin on the front of the box.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, those were the best things. You get that. You always went for the pudding and totally forgot about the vegetables.
No, wait a minute. I think I remember now. Go-Gurt. I had Go-Gurt a lot growing up.
Danimals, bruh.
Wait, you ever had the Go-Gurt? You know, the tube yogurt?
Yeah, the tubed yogurt.
Yeah, I had that a lot. I remember having that a lot growing up.
Dude, I remember being a little kid and coming home from school and just whipping one of those out of the fridge and just being like, hey, popping that out, playing a little bit of basketball out on the street, or going inside and watching cartoons and just relaxing. Especially when you froze it a little bit. Oh my goodness.
This may be a hot take, but maybe people should be soaking up Go-Gurt more than doing drugs. Go-Gurt's a lot safer.
Yeah, and you get basically the same high off of it. I mean, have you ever experienced a nice, like, freshly cold yogurt, like, out of a tube? The power you get from that makes you feel like Superman.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot more safer on everybody were to do that instead of doing drugs.
For sure. I mean, I really, like, I enjoy just, like, being able to look at these things in the store nowadays and seeing, like, younger generations being exposed to what I was exposed to as a child. I'm like, dude, you ever had a yogurt? And they're like, no, I don't know. What is this tube yogurt? I'm like, bruh, it's yogurt. They put it in a tube form. But let me tell you, if I tried to ask you to describe it after you had it, you wouldn't be able to, because you'd be like, they do something different. Something's changed. Something's different. I'm like, nah, they just put it in a tube. Nah, something's different.
It's a tube.
And it's like, bruh, you just gotta try these things. And people are like, that's not the adult way. I prefer to eat it out of a cup. Like, what the hell do you care in what form it comes in if it's the same thing?
I mean, like, Trix yogurt the cup was good.
Dude, I still eat cereal to this day. Let me tell you, my favorite cereal, Honey Smacks. But, Lucky Charms, all these types of things. I know people that won't eat it because it's seen as that's a child food. I'm like, how is that a child food? You can be any age. I know Michael Phelps is smoking weed and eating Frosted Flakes, where they took his face off a box of Frosted Flakes because they found out he smoked weed. Like, you're telling me it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're eating Frosted Flakes? I guarantee you drugs are probably involved.
Yeah, probably, because unless you gotta work, unless you gotta get up that early, or you're working or whatever.
That's true.
There has to be a reason.
That's true. But I just think, like with Yu-Gi-Oh!, all these types of really fascinating cartoons, different animation styles, like that gave everybody a little bit of culture from a whole nother country. Japanese, all that. Like, that exposed people to this world. I know friends that have traveled to Japan just to experience that. Like, just to experience the realness of where it came from. That's stuff I wish I could do, but I just don't have time to take a plane down to Japan. And plus, I really don't feel like going to Japan. But those types of things, like, it brings a whole fascination and culture to a world that might, or a country that might seem lacking in that form. America has its good parts and it has its bad parts, but there's a lot more when it comes to anime and these types of styles where it originates from, and that's from like Japan or some other country out there. And it's awesome, dude, because when they play it now on TV, I don't know any person that didn't grow up on cartoons. I mean, even my grandparents had a form of cartoons, whether it was black and white, the old Mickey Mouse on a tugboat type things. Like, there's just stuff, like, they understand it, but they see it now and they're like, that's not the original. I remember Popeye, and I'm like, what? It's the same thing, just in a different form. And once you come to that realization, you just realize, like, oh, it's not made for me. It's made for other generations to understand what I was interested in. Cartoons are never going to be gone. It's too fascinating. It's too occupying. First of all, I mean, geez, I don't know how many times I sat in front of the TV with a Lunchable and just watching cartoons all day. Like, what'd you do today? I watched TV. Like, is that all you did? Yeah. Do you feel accomplished? Yeah. It's like,
That's how I am like with wrestling sometimes.
all
I'm
right,
a huge wrestling fan.
yeah, you're a WWE fan. I actually need to say something about that. Now, you know it's fake, right?
It's a work. It isn't fake.
What do you mean it's a work?
It's I if I put you through a table right now, you're not gonna say that it's fake. You're gonna be hurting.
Oh yeah, okay, I do get it. Yeah, well, I think a lot of what they do is like, what I mean, it's like acting a little bit. It's staged, but I like when they do the falls and the things like that. They actually have to train for that. They have to make sure that if they land a certain way, like they know how to like make sure they're not getting severely hurt. And that's true. Like when they go through a table, yes, that is, it is a breakaway table, but the whole factor is they're still getting hurt from that. It's just not as bad as if it were to be like a real bar fight where I threw somebody through a table, you know? Um, I, I've kind of listened to podcasts with Joe Rogan where he's talked to, professional like superstars like that have been on, WWE, and they explain the whole background, behind the curtain type things. It's all just to, just for the I guess the public to consume. It's just an art form. It's just like watching a movie. It's just an act, but it's enjoyable. And my cousin, he was a giant fan of WWE for the longest time. I don't know if he still is, but collecting all the action figures, and I always saw it like it's fake though. But I'm like, so what? It's a form of entertainment. I mean, I'm not gonna knock any of those people for doing it. One of the biggest influence, like The Rock. Like you smell what The Rock's cooking. Like it's all it's all a ploy for attention, but it's awesome because it lets you escape and kind of experience a whole new thing. And it's just like there's no different in going into a concert and experiencing that. Like you're still experiencing a form of art. You're telling me someone that does a cover of a song is just it's just an act? Of course it's an act. That's what you're paying to see. What makes it different if, I want to see Ric Flair scream "Woo!" on like damn right I do. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just don't watch WWE. I watch like WCW and ECW, which were the two big promotions going on in the '90s, competing with the WWE or the WWF at the time. And they did amazing stuff too, especially ECW. If you want. If you watched anything ECW from the original ECW, not the new crappy one that WWE tried doing, but if you watch stuff from the original ECW, you're not going to say this is fake. You're going to say half of that was real because the Crimson Mask probably happens 99.9% of the time more on that promotion than any other promotion that happened at that time.
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to people, we all got an inner nerd, whether you want to be open to them or not. You know what I mean? And what's the difference between wearing a football jersey and wearing a T-shirt of your favorite superhero or favorite cartoon? There's no difference at all. I don't know how many times now you go to PacSun, you go to some type of surf shop, go to some type of company that creates clothing, whether it's Ruko, whether it's Neff. They all have T-shirts that are based on cartoons now too, like a Nickelodeon T-shirt, a Flashback T-shirt. I mean, they're all doing this type of stuff, and it's becoming popular again. It's becoming this major thing that for a while it seemed like it went into the dark a little bit. At least in my world, it did. I seen like a lot of stuff, like especially where I'm from. It all became like I guess more not formal, but more like surfer style clothing, like all about the beach, and whether you're going into New York or something like that, it was all like popular brands like Gucci, all these types of things, like popular foods selling out, whatever it is. Now it seems like everything's becoming like superhero, everything's becoming cartoonish, everything's becoming like it's the world, it's bringing a flashback to these types of things. I mean, people that I used to know that would make fun of other people for doing this Naruto run or trying to act like a ninja at school are now wearing what they used to make fun of, and I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, dude, this is the trend, bro. I'm like, bro, what? Like it's crazy to see that now, because you realize like they're coming to the realization that they were just being ridiculous in the first place to make fun of someone like that.
I I mean, like, people are allowed to be who they want to be. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, like, I'm just a giant nerd. That's all I am. I just want to, like, make people. I just want to entertain the people somehow. I mean, I just want podcasting to be what I do for a living. That's what I want to do. Like, if I could get paid to do my podcast, then that's all I would want to do.
So with your podcast, it's called Cyber Time Bite.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Cyber Time Bite.
So I'm 50 episodes. I'm 50 episodes strong now. I'm in the 50s with episodes, and I'm a year in with it. This isn't my first podcast though. I've been doing another podcast, which is kind of right now. That I've been doing for 4 years, called Adventure Time Guys. And on Adventure Time Guys, we interviewed people every so often. And ever since we started doing that on that show, I always wanted to do a podcast for myself that involved just doing that. And I was like, and one day I was like, screw it, I'm actually gonna go for it, and I did. And the funny story behind the podcast, it's funny. It's at one point there's this website called radio.co. And basically, it's a website where you can make your own radio station. And what happened was that we were going to have a program lined up on the schedule, like original programming, on the side of Adventure Time Guys episodes being rerun on a certain day. And then on other days we would have like programming that was original. And one of those original programs were supposed to be Cyber Time Bite. And what happened was that I was getting sick of paying, like, I think it was like $57 or something a month for the station, and we didn't have enough, I didn't have enough variety of music. Because it I had like a lot, like if you looked at the music thing, there was like 50 Aerosmith songs and like 50 Iron Maiden songs or 50 other songs by different artists, that there wasn't much room for variety because I didn't have much going in. And so I was like, screw it, I canceled my subscription on there. And then the Cyber Time Bite idea was lingering for a long time because I didn't know what to do with it after the station went down. And so I was like, wait a minute, you're Spreaker? And that's where I do ATG on. So I already had an account on Spreaker.
Well,
wasn't using it for anything.
What does your podcast focus on? Let's not talk about all the outlets it has, but let's talk about what does it focus on? Like, give people some information on like what's about. Like, do you just is it a way for you and your friends to kind of, I guess what people would say, nerd out and just talk about things you guys enjoy, like cartoons, these different types of things, or do you kind of focus on the world? What do you do?
So yeah, after all that I was talking about, it happened, and it's basically like I bring on a guest every single week, like that I find like it would have been cool if it was about a podcast of all of my friends nerding out if they had time to nerd out with me at a certain time of day every week, but it's like from its inception to right now, it's just been people that I found in the cosplay community, the wrestling community, a lot of communities, like a lot of things that I'm into. I look into those fandoms and I find people in those fandoms and I bring them on my podcast and we talk about that fandom. And so if I have like a cosplayer on per se, like I go like I ask them about like where their cosplay started. Like where they started in the cosplay community, and they tell me about it, and then
yeah, you get their experience, you get their kind of where their interest for this certain thing came from. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting because you're getting you can get a wide variety of answers with that, man. It's much like how like I'm doing now podcasts, and it's like I'm talking to you, you're telling me you're giving me your experience on things and things that you're interested in. And you say you want to do podcasting as that's what you want to do with your life?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am too. I'm out there to hear the world. Like if I could just be able to survive and just podcast, I'd love to. I'd love to travel the world and get everybody's influence. I mean, I've podcasted with people all around from different countries, everything. And we all have the same kind of realization on the world today. We all kind of think the same. And, you know, I think it just takes a little bit. I think if more people were understanding of other people, the world would be a little bit of a better place. And with podcasting doing what you're doing, where you're getting interviews of people with like cosplayers and these types of things, what's probably your most famous interview? I would say well, not famous, but what's your most favorite interview?
My favorite. Well, I can tell you all the famous people I had on my podcast, and then I can tell you my favorite if you want.
Well, I want to know what's one that you pulled out that was like the best experience you've had.
I'm not gonna lie, and it probably is my favorite one. I did an episode. What was it? I think it was 27. I think it was 27. Yeah. I did an interview with this cosplayer. She goes by Tiff93KD on the internet, and that was probably one of my favorite interviews ever. I had to heavily edit the episode because the call was messy, but it's honestly one of my favorite interviews ever.
Why was it your favorite?
We talked about a lot of cosplay things. We talked about a lot of different things. We were just real with each other, and it's real.
Yeah.
That just makes it all better.
Well, you got to give me the specifics here. Like, what cosplay did you guys talk about? What was she interested in? Like, you got to give me some specifics for the listeners out here.
Well, we were just talking about it. Like, we're both Homestuck, so we were like talking about Homestuck and why she cosplayed from Homestuck, who's her favorite character, why she cosplays as her favorite character. She was telling me about like things I'm not going to share on here because it's like something because it's like her own things and
I get it. Yeah, you don't have to explain. We get it.
Yeah, and it was. Like the thing is that if you haven't listened to an episode of Cyber Time by this point, why not? Just why not?
Like I said, some people don't know you even have a podcast called Cyber Time Bite. So you have to
But the most important thing about the podcast too is that one of the driving points for it is also the spork, and the spork is the most powerful of them all. Like it's better than the sword, it's better than the shield, it's better than everything. The spork is everything.
Yeah, well, it's a versatile tool, first of all.
You could go buy my T-shirt right now with the spork on it. Why not? Because why not?
Are you plugging your shirt right now?
Am I allowed to?
Doesn't matter to me, man. I just want you to know, like, the reason podcasting is out here, it's to give everyone a voice who wants to express themselves in any kind of form. And, you know, it'll come across who it comes across, and it'll grow. It just depends on where you want to take it, man.
I mean, do you have merchandise for your show?
No, I honestly haven't really. I thought about it, maybe creating some stuff, but you know, I'm out here just to see where I just out here to see I guess where it goes, man. If it chooses to stop here, then it chooses to stop here. I'd love it to continue on forever, but it's just out here. If people come across it, man, and just enjoy just conversations with people and talking about life, because that's all that we're all living together. And it's sometimes it's better to maybe come across something that you're like, wow, I really resonated with what that person said. That really hit home, because sometimes you're experiencing a struggle, sometimes you're experiencing feeling alone a little bit, and then you realize someone out there has the same thoughts that you do, and you're like, holy crap, like it someone thinks the way I do. Like, Yeah, there's people out there that are going through the same shit you're going through. Some people going through worse than you. Some people are doing better than you. Why are you going to compare yourself to other people and just realize we're all people living on this earth together, and whatever you want to do in your life that is fascinating, whether it's podcasting, whether it's creating comic books, whether it's doing whatever you want, anything under the sun. It's all up to you. Life is what you make it. You know what I mean? It's what you choose to do with it. Whether you want to just be comfortable, okay, then be comfortable. But don't knock anybody else for trying to expand their lives or trying to find their interests and chase after it, because in a world that's lacking in some aspects creativity or spark of creation, you're seeing it kind of progress now. Society's trying to become more adopted to creativity and find other outlets, but people are, I don't know if they're truly willing to accept it. One of the most famous people out there, throughout time history, has belittled these giant creative people that are seen as looked at as giant historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci, freaking Galileo, all these types of guys that were like just commended for their acts of trying to have this creativity and this passion, and now they're just seen as gods now throughout history. And I feel like it takes people time to realize what a good thing was and realize this person had it figured out. And like with my own experience with seeing these people that truly did not care what other people thought of them, they had it figured out. Because why am I going to waste minutes of my life trying to conform myself to what society calls normal, when I don't want to be like that? I don't want to be like the SpongeBob episode where he's like, "Hi, how you doing?" I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be another face among the crowd. I want to be someone that has a voice and has something that can be said and something that can be heard that can affect somebody's life. I want to be able to have good conversations. I don't have bad conversations. And that's only because there's no bad conversations in the world. Yeah, you're not going to agree with 100% of the people on this earth. That's just a fact, You're going to have arguments. You're going to have people that you like. You're going to have people you don't like. But there are no bad conversations. They're just conversations that reach two separate conclusions. Once you start changing your perspective on things, you start getting a better realization of who people are and how people are. And I think that's something that we all need to take the time to understand. And that's what I try and get across with my podcast. And your podcast, Cyber Time Bite, and then doing your Adventure Time Friends thing, it's a way of, there's people that are going to listen to that and hear about it, and they're going to get out there and get motivated to maybe dive into the world of whatever you're talking about a little bit more, whether it's comic books, listening to someone explain why they're interested in this certain character. I mean, we all have favorite characters in a movie. Like, yo, you remember that one dude from that one movie? Yeah, he was cool, but I like the bad guy. And it's like, there you go. There's a conversation right there. And it creates throughout life, and we gloss over it sometimes, and I think that's ignorant of us.
I could just I could just imagine just the intro to your podcast if it was like in a video form, just like the song, like, "I believe it or not, I'm walking on air," like that song's playing, and just it's showing like pictures of like Da Vinci and Galileo and pictures of you just flying across the screen. And
dude, you might have just gave me an idea right there.
What's that?
I said you just probably gave me an idea right there. I'm about to go do that. Now, I think of my podcast like it's the beginning scene, like what, or the beginning song, like with the Beatles, "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
I can just see that though. It's just like, "Believe it or not, I'm walking on air." Just pictures of you just flying across, and pictures of Galileo and Da Vinci and Leonardo just freaking just like, and I'd be just like, "What the heck, man?"
Oh yeah, dude. Well, that was the point of Out of the Blank, man. People are like, "What's Out of the Blank?" I'm like, "That's what it is, man. It's fucking. We're talking about whatever. It can go aliens 1 minute. It can go to freaking talking about whatever you want. The conversation varies depending on the person. Whatever you want to talk about, or whatever we just come to a conclusion of. I don't stick to a basis. I don't have a guideline. I don't have a list of questions in front of me. Everything I want to ask is everything I want to know. What. and it gives you so many just different things to dive into. I've seen people chase down the rabbit hole of being a professional women's champion arm wrestler, to people that experience working with mentally disabled people, to people that experience bodybuilding, to people that experience, it's all over the place because we're all interested in something. We all have something that drives us to get motivated and get out of bed. What is it? Let's find it. Let's chase down the rabbit hole and freaking ride it into the pits of Asgard or whatever the hell you want to label it. I don't care. It's a road that we have to walk, and I want to see where that thing goes, the twists and turns.
Because I don't know. I feel like, what is it? I feel like there's when it comes to the cosplay world, there's just a lot of people who are just too snuffy about it.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to throw in their little nitpicky decisions about things, you know. Everyone's got to have a little, oh, you do it that way? Well, you know you could do this. Everyone's trying to dive into the mix, kind of throw a little bit of spice into whatever you're making. Or they try and take a piece of it for themselves, or they try and condemn it for something. I think there's a lot less people willing to help others out there, and that's just because of how we are just so willing to knock somebody before we're able to actually help them. And I think we all have a ability to help. We all have an ability just to do something, like maybe have an hour conversation, much like how we're having now. And it doesn't take much time of our day, and I appreciate you even doing it. But the whole thing is, it's not hard to have a conversation. It's not hard to help somebody, whether you want to choose to hold the door open for them or not. It's all about being able to, I guess, not hurt anybody. The world should be more like that and not willing to push people down.
Yeah, because there's a lot of books. I mean, yeah, the internet is around. People can look up that stuff on Google now, but books can really help with that too. I mean, like I was really into the Chicken Soup books growing up, especially Chicken Soup for the teenage and for the teenage and something soul too, second one, and it was that kind of, I don't know, I wasn't conforming myself to that book, but it was just like for some reason I thought it was true to some extent, and that wasn't the book I always went to, and I thought, like, if I didn't know the answer, the book was going to know the answer thing. It's just like one of those things that just like I gained knowledge off of, and I bought the book for some reason. I own it to this day, but.
Well, Steven, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on my podcast, man, because it means a lot, dude. And I'm glad people can, look up your podcast, Cyber Time Bite, or look up your Adventure Times Friends podcast and be able to listen to you and hopefully get a little attention to what you're doing, because what you're doing is awesome, man. And I think if you take every possible way of trying to, I guess, or just accomplish your goal of doing this, I guess, as a living, you can do it, man. You have the keys to your car to drive it, dude. And I think it's going to go places, man. You're definitely going to affect some people out there, and you're definitely going to, if you got the motivation to get it going and you got the effort and you put in the time, you can get it done, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, like, hopefully my book talk didn't get you out there.
No, it's all good, man. It was a good conversation, dude, and I appreciate having you on, man. And like I said, take your podcast. The sky's the limit, brother. You got anything you can do with it, whether people want to listen to it or not. Don't listen to anybody that says anything bad about it. It doesn't mean anything, because that's just not for them. You have a group of people out there. You have more than a group. You have people out there that are willing to listen to and find interest in what you have. Same with mine. I have people that are going to disagree with my podcast. I have people that are going to enjoy it. It doesn't matter. Do it for you. Do it because you enjoy doing it. Don't worry about what others think.
Yeah, there's gonna be people that say they're gonna come up to me. I can say anything about anything I like, and they'll just come up to me and say "screw you," and I just like, you know what? Screw you too.
Exactly, man. And I think that's how people have to look at it in the world, not as a thing like, oh, screw you because you don't like what I like. No, think of it as, dude, I'm not gonna let you bother me, man, because it's not for you. That means if you don't like it, that's fine with me. He ain't wasting my time anymore. You know, don't worry about what others think of you. Truly be free and express yourself and how you want to express yourself.
Yeah, and that's the way it is.
And I appreciate you being on my podcast, man. It was a good conversation, and it was good talking to you, Stephen Clark.